separated by inches. The past.
Well, you know, yesterday when we were talking about thunderstorms here, we talked about some of these initial storms would have the potential to rotate and could produce tornado warnings. And we are now in that scenario where we have our first tornado warning. This is going to be in effect until 7:30. Tornado warning here for Crawford, Du Bois, and Orange County until 7:30. And let's go take these graphics full so I can show you where we're talking about. The areas of greatest concern right now are going to be as we look towards English, off to the east or west of English near the Birdseye area specifically is the greatest concern. National Weather Service issued this warning, and we have seen within the storm rotation for a while. We've actually been watching it since it's been off to the east to Evansville. The National Weather Service is putting out the warning basically for the storm that's located 13 miles southeast of Jasper. This is moving quick northeast at 45 miles an hour. As it stands, it's radar indicated rotation. But with that said, we have seen persistent rotation within the storm. If you're in Birdseye right now, you can see as we look, notice where the greens and the reds come together. When you have these greens and reds right next to each other, that's where you're seeing rotation within the thunderstorm. And you can see really clearly here, green, red, right next to each other. Birdseye, I need you in your tornado location, your safe spot right now. Where? That's downstairs. I want you to get underneath something, the center part of your house, and you need to keep away from windows. It is going to be moving over the Birdseye area in the next 3 to 4 minutes, so don't wait on this one. Protect yourself now. Down the line, we're talking about Newton Stewart, just to the northwest of the Tazewell area. And there you can see latest update is going to put this right now along Indiana 145, about 2 miles to the southwest of the Birdseye area. So that's the area rotation right now. It will be just to the southwest of Birdseye. You know, the interesting thing within this line is basically the whole thing. We have seen persistent rotation within the storms. And you can see the dangerous part of a thunderstorm here is traditionally and always on the southwestern side of the storm. And that's kind of where we stand right now. So the southwest part of the storm is where we have our area of rotation, and that is the greatest risk that we have within that thunderstorm right now is going to be on the southwestern edge. I showed you rotation. I want to show you hail potential, and you're looking at that and you're saying, you know what? I don't see anything. Right. There really isn't much hail potential on this. We're talking about, generally speaking, a small storm. Doesn't even have a lot of lightning on it right now. You're basically just talking more of within the storm, just the danger of a quick spin up. This is not your supercell style tornadoes. You're talking about, if we get one, we're talking about a quick lived tornado. Till 7:30, Crawford, Du Bois, Orange County. I'm going to take you over to Storm View 3D real quickly, and we'll try to take a look inside the storm from a perspective of, are we seeing more significant rotation, or are we looking at something that's just on the lighter side? This is Storm View 3D right now, and you can see I'm looking right in specifically close to Birdseye. So this is State Road 145, Indiana 145. The area rotation right now is just to the south of East State Road 64 and State Road 145, just to the south of the Birdseye area. And when we look at that rotation, you can see it really well showing up here on Storm View 3D, just off to the south of Birdseye. You know, my opinion as we stand right now is that this was a legitimate tornado warning. We're definitely seeing within the storm that there's clearly rotation. It's on the northern edge, the northern fringe of where we have that tornado warning, and you can see with the storm is moving so fast, it creates kind of an interesting scenario because they're moving so quickly that these things can cover some real estate very, very fast. A storm track on this, where is it going? Moving off to the northeast, remember, at around 45 miles an hour, and I'm going to only look at the part of the storm where we have the tornado warning on, because that's the most interesting from a perspective of real danger. We're not talking about hail, and there's not a lot of lightning. 5 minutes from now in the Newton Stewart area, 12 minutes from now it'll be in the Ethel area. We'll see it in the southeast area 21 minutes from now, Chambersburg 26 minutes from now, and then Stamper Creek in 29 minutes from now. Wide perspective and looking at everything in motion here, you can see main storms. So this is the one where we have our tornado warning in effect. The area that's out ahead of the main line. And what happened here is you have really actually favorable wind energy for our area. And these initial storms, we're going to refer to them as renegades. When they're out ahead of the line, these are the kind that can work with more of the favorable wind energy. My sense is as we go through the overnight, we'll lower the threat. But clearly, like I said yesterday, some of these we're going to spin. We would likely see some severe weather. I was critical of the Storms Prediction Center not placing us under a slight risk. And honestly, I'm frustrated in the fact that we're still not under a slight risk. This was very clear to me that we would have potential for severe. But now we're talking about the tornado warnings. And I can tell you, I think there's still the possibility for our area that we could see some quick spin-ups within the line. I don't think, like we said, we're talking about these long duration. But there's definitely the line itself has broken into some small segments out ahead. Some areas of rotation right now as we look towards around French Lick, Mitchell, and then we've got what is definitely the more significant area of rotation that's really just to the north of Birdseye right now. So let me give you a look at the velocity here. We've got a new scan that just came in, and it is basically right along Indiana 145, just about 2 miles to the south of Birdseye. So this continuing its movement off towards the northeast at 45 it'll take it across Indiana 145 as that goes about 2 miles to the north. Let me make sure I get my roads correct here. This is going to go about 2 miles off to the north of East State Road 64. So it's basically paralleling East State Road 64, and then it's going to continue to pass along the Indiana 145 as we look at moving out of, make sure I got my counties right here. We're moving out of Du Bois County, and basically now all of the rotation is into Crawford County, and then ultimately, if it holds, we're probably talking about 12 to 14 minutes or so before it crosses over then into the Orange County area. This is a look at the storm. Clearly, again, a supercell. What a supercell thunderstorm is, it's a thunderstorm that's showing rotation within it. These thunderstorms, when you're talking about some areas of concern, what you'll normally look for is a hook echo on the southern side of the storm. So here is the full body of the storm, and you can see that hook on the southwestern edge. What's happening here, thunderstorms rotating, and it is literally pulling rain around the back edge and then starting to curl around. So when you get this hook, what it's showing you is that the thunderstorm itself is rotating. The area of rotation, as we just mentioned, is off to the northeast of Birdseye. Right now, it was south of Birdseye, so it really, honest truth is just kind of skirting through the Birdseye area. I feel like I said, I think this is a legitimate tornado warning. I think it was rightfully issued. The storm has had persistent rotation here for a while, continues to rotate in the northern part of Crawford County right now, and then we need to watch as it moves towards Orange County here. I'm going to take you over to Storm View 3D again, because remember that we kind of look at for when we're trying to dial in rotation. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to take you out a little bit here. You can see that rotation now. I'm going to get a measurement on where it stands with respect to Birdseye. So this is now off area of rotation that's developed just off to the north of that. So I want to actually look at that, and that actually is legitimate. Notice as you look within there, you can see there's these little green-red clusters. There's one that's out of the tornado warning right now, and then there's one that's in the tornado warning. It may not necessarily be a bad idea for maybe to extend that warning a little bit further to the north, because part of that area rotation is outside of that warning right now. That area would be off to the northeast of Birdseye. I mean, this is the extreme southeast part of Orange County, southwest part of Orange County, or you're talking about 6 miles northeast of Birdseye. Two areas of rotation right now. One area that is in Crawford County, and the other that's moving into Orange County. So, like I said, I actually feel like we probably should give a little bit of a nudge further north on this tornado warning, because I do think that some of the rotation right now is outside of that tornado warning. Tornado warning remains in effect for the 3 counties, Du Bois, Orange, and Crawford County until 7:30. So we've got 17 more minutes on the tornado warning here. And we're going to stay with this as we go through the evening. From the National Weather Service, their latest information, by the way, is they said that they got what's called a TVS on the radar. And what a TVS is, a tornado vortex signature. And what they're saying is kind of what we've been talking about. The rotation has been persistent aloft, not as intense towards the ground. And that's kind of what we're talking about. When you get a situation like this, it can produce a quick spin up. You're normally not talking about long duration kind of scenarios. The latest from the National Weather Service, though, is they've removed out of the tornado warning Du Bois County, and they are now only Crawford, Orange County until 7:30 under the tornado warning. And as we look at the rotation within that storm, It's been rather consistent. Like I said, kind of interesting here when you look at this. You can see when the greens and reds come together. You know, I want to explain why we say greens and reds. Why does that even matter? So the reds are outbound, and you have to think about it from a perspective of where the radar is, down over here. So those winds in the red are blowing away from the radar. In the green, they're blowing towards the radar. And really that doesn't matter much unless they're right next to each other, because if they're right next to each other, you have rotation. So we have one area of rotation right here, just off to the west of Newton Stewart, and then as we cross over into Orange County, here's Indiana 145, 3 miles off to the west, we have another area of rotation. It's very clear when you look at radar that there are distinctly two areas of rotation within this. I don't think we're talking about a large-scale tornado scenario, but I do think you can get a quick spin-up. So Newton Stewart, take your tornado safety precautions in the northern part of Crawford County. And I even would say in the western part of Orange County, my opinion is I would actually take my tornado safety precautions as well. You're not under implicitly this specific tornado warning, but you're very, very close. So, you know, for down the line, could this get towards Paoli? Absolutely. You're talking about those two areas of rotation, and I'm going to track this a little differently since we do have two areas of rotation. I'm going to track that area where we're seeing the rotation off to the northeast at 45, so that puts it 10 minutes from now in the Youngs Creek area. It puts it in Stampers Creek 23 minutes from now. We're talking about 35 minutes from now, it'll be in the Saltillo area, and then 38 minutes from now, Campbellsburg, Indiana. As we stand right now, we've got 15 minutes left on the tornado warning. The rotation continues to look solid here. I've got Kim in the Weather Center with me. I'm going to come over to Storm View 3D, what you're looking at there, Kim. And Kim has been looking at in the storm that area of rotation, and you can see, you know, the extreme northern part, northwestern part of Crawford County, extreme southwestern part of Orange County. We still see these two areas of rotation. As we look at the velocity within the storm, you can very clearly see we've got those greens blowing towards the radar, reds blowing away from the radar. That area of rotation right now is just off to the east-northeast of Birdseye by about 3 to 4 miles, and then you have that secondary area of rotation that is in rural southwest Orange County. Specifically, it is along Indiana 145 right now, 2 miles to 3 miles north of the Crawford and Orange County line. So two areas of rotation within that. Wide perspective, I'm going to go back over to Storm View HD, show you what we've got on the large, what's going on. We've actually got now more tornado warnings. Now, this one's not specifically for our area, but again, you know, I've said this was a case where you were going to get tornado warnings. I mean, there's obviously a reason why I'm here on Saturday, because I felt pretty confident that we would get a tornado warning or two. The atmosphere, the wind energy is simply put supportive of tornadoes and severe weather. The warmth is there. It's an interesting one. It's not cold enough aloft to create a ton of fuel, but you've got a very supportive wind structure. So there's a tornado warning right now, land between the lakes in the far southwestern part of Kentucky, and then we've got that one tornado warning that is in our area right now. That's the one that we've kind of been watching closely. It's still kind of a clustered area. I will tell you, when you have a scenario like this, normally what's going to happen is the farthest south storm along the line is going to be the one that rotates the most, and there's reasons behind that. But when you have a break within a line, you're normally going to enhance rotation, and this is what we call a tail end Charlie storm. When you're on the tail of the line, you're normally going to see some rotation within the storm. My opinion here is the rotations come down somewhat as we go over to Storm View 3D. What you'll notice is where the greens and the reds are next to each other, the greens and reds are not as bright as they once were. 12 minutes left on this tornado warning as we're staring down 718. Sense here is that rotation has come down a little bit. Southwestern Orange County rotation has come down just a touch here in the far northern part of Crawford County. National Weather Service, probably my opinion is if we continue where we stand right now, but I feel like we're starting to expire in about 12 minutes at 7:30. But I feel like we're starting to see a downward trend right now on the thunderstorm. Still a tornado warning until 7:30 for Crawford and Orange County. Looking at the normalized rotation here, remember we're looking for where the greens are normally within that line or within this product. where that little green pop is, we say green means go, and you can see a brief touchdown. We can also look here and see if there's any debris or anything like that being lofted, and where we do that is we look at what's called correlation coefficient. So let me introduce you to the product real quickly. What you're looking for is a really dark area within the pink, and we know that the area of rotation right now is in the currently in the far southwestern part of Orange and the far northwestern part of Crawford County, and you're not seeing any dark within that area where we have the rotation. So that's good. That means there's no signal of what we refer to as a tornado debris signature. There is no signal of that right now. So what we're talking about still remains radar indicated. There's nothing at all within radar to confirm any touchdown. And looking at this, I'm going to spend 30 minutes on this. I just want to see trends here. Firstly, it jumps off the screen how fast this thing is moving. I mean, you're talking about a storm that's going 45 miles an hour. As far as behind it, there really isn't anything of great concern. My sense here is this is probably going to be the main story within this line, and in terms of severe weather potential. I don't think we're going to be talking about hail. I don't think we're talking about a large severe weather threat, but when you do have persistent rotation within a storm, you need to watch for those what we refer to as quick spin-ups. These can produce tornadoes very briefly, but they can and do produce quick tornado touchdowns. This is the latest scan here on StormView HD right now, and what we're looking at, the area in Orange County, to me, again, continues to show a downward progression. There is still that rotation right now, Crawford County, so this is basically bordering on the Crawford and Orange County line. So Ethel, the storm's moving towards you right now. The area rotation will go over Ethel in the southern part of Orange County in about the next 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Moving off to the northeast at 45 miles an hour, so a quick mover puts it, actually now that's the latest velocity. You know, I got to say, I think it's come down in intensity. I'm not seeing anything in here that screams to me tornado imminent or anything like that. That said, the area rotation, Pine Valley 12 minutes from now, puts it in the Chambersburg area 20 minutes from now, 24 minutes from now, in the Stampers Creek area. This is a tornado warning that remains in effect. Tornado warning until 7:30, so we've got another 8 minutes. My sense, again, remains is that if things stay as we're seeing right now, this is a case where I think that the tornado warning would likely be allowed to expire. But with that said, you know, probably these are going to end up being what we call short fuse tornado warnings that only last a little bit of time. As far as along the line, we've got rain thunderstorms right now, Pershing, Owen, through around Pleasant Run. As we look into Lawrence County, we've got rain right now, Bedford through around Mitchell. Through the Buda area, we've got rain right now. We go into Orleans, we've got rain, Paoli. Strongest part of the storm right now, the only area that remains under the tornado warning now is Orange County. So the tornado warning that was in effect for Du Bois canceled, Crawford now canceled. And it's because the only area that we have left that's showing any signal of rotation has made its move now into, basically now it's into Orange County. So that's the only area that's left of rotation. I still remain, my sense here remains the same, that you're looking at a scenario here where a tornado warning is in effect, but is likely to be allowed to expire. Reds away from the radar, green towards. So where we've got the red and the green next to each other, right over Ethel, Indiana, southern part of Orange County, is where you have the rotation. That area that was near County Road 575 and 145, that rotation has come down significantly. I don't see any imminent threat there. And I do feel like that, again, the rotation near Ethel is definitely continuing a downward trend here. We're going to stay with the tornado warning for 7 more minutes until it is either canceled or allowed to expire. But I feel like my sense here is that we're seeing a decreasing trend within the storm. To the west, we've got the main line. Main line does have a tornado warning on it in the far southern part of Kentucky. That's near Murray, Kentucky. And you can see, you know, looking at the line, the back edge, and you can kind of see the front if you look real closely here. So the back edge here it goes through basically the Boot Heel in Missouri and southern Illinois. And so what's going to happen here as we go through the overnight hours is this initial line will merge with that line that's over southern Illinois. And this is going to set the stage for potentially heavy rain to move across our area. Then on top of that, as we move off to the south, what we're going to have to deal with during the overnight and then into tomorrow. And this is obviously a big story here, but this is Nate. It's now just off to the east of the far tip of Louisiana. This thing's going to make landfall either in Louisiana or Mississippi, and then ultimately that moisture is going to be making it surge off to the north tomorrow. So as we stand right now, we've got a tornado warning for about another 5 minutes or so. Only counties within our area under a tornado warning. It's only one right now. Rotation, again, to me, continues to not look as substantial as it did earlier. I think you're looking at a likely tornado warning being allowed to expire in the southern part of Orange County. Rain, thunderstorms from Pershing through Pleasant Run. We've got rain right now in Mitchell. Southern part of Orange County, still there's a tornado warning right now. I'll take you over to Storm View 3D right now. We're going to look at what we call normalized rotation in there. And again, you see a little pop of green right now. So this is our area of rotation. Enough rotation within the storm to get us in the greens of the normalized rotation. Greens are spinning storms. I mean, this is a supercell thunderstorm. It's a storm that we absolutely need to look at and watch closely. Rotation is not that far away from southeast in the southern part of Orange County. Rotation now has made itself past the Ethel area. Rotation is approaching just north of Bacon along Indiana 37. That will ultimately make its move towards southeast. 4.5 minutes left on the tornado warning right now. Still showing some signals, some rotation right now in that storm. Basically near, I would say off to the, in southeast Indiana, you're talking west-southwest by about 4 miles. Track continues to move towards the east-northeast, kind of waiting on the Weather Service if they're going to continue this thing. But like I said, you know, my feeling right now is that you're talking about a storm that is, it's marginal. It's marginal rotation. It is enough to show, to keep our attention on it, but maybe not enough for a tornado warning. You're talking about right along Indiana 37 right now, off to the west-southwest of southeast Indiana by about 4 miles. So crossing over Indiana 37, I am convinced that we will see at least a lowering within this thunderstorm. And we're actually starting to see, I'm on my Twitter right now looking briefly and starting to get some pictures of the lowered base on that storm right now that's coming in out of Perry County along 64. So someone's clearly looking off to the north, seeing that rotation. Perspective-wise, here's 64, so there's actually no question if you're looking off to the north along 64 in Perry County and Crawford County, you probably are going to be able to see the base of that storm. Then you've got another storm right now that's in Birdseye. This one really shows no signal, in my opinion, at all of producing severe. And, you know, I'll tell you what I told you last night, and that is it is possible that you can get a brief tornado spin-up. It doesn't surprise me, obviously, that we got a quick tornado warning. You know, truth be told is when it comes to Saturday and Sunday, like everybody else, I think you guys know that I'd prefer to be sitting on my couch at home relaxing a little bit, but, you know, the wind energy was still supportive of rotating thunderstorms. I told you guys last night, I did a Facebook Live video about it last night. I said that I thought we should be under a slight risk of severe, and I told you guys I thought we could see potentially a tornado warning today. And so, you know, that's the reason I'm here. This is southeast Indiana. This, and when I say southeast Indiana, I'm talking about the town in the southern part of Orange County. So here's the rotation. I got to say again, I feel like you're talking about rotation levels coming down. There's only 2 minutes left on this tornado warning in the southern part of Orange County. You know, what I try to do when we're on during severe weather, in particular tornado coverage, is I try to give you guys my real-time analysis of what I'm seeing. I always feel like that's the best of what we can do with this in terms of trying to give you lead time, concern level, and I sense and I continue to feel that we're looking at a storm that is coming down in intensity. We haven't got a lot of indication from the Weather Service about what they're going to do, and my sense, like I said earlier, and I feel still, is that the rotation has come down on this storm. I feel like our concern levels are lowering on the storm. I can't rule out, you know, you can see the storm remains on the southern end of this line. So that's going to ultimately go through Salem. It's going to go through northern Scott County. It's going to go through the southern part of Jackson and then ultimately towards, let's say, North Jefferson County, Indiana, and parts of Jennings County. So we're talking about still that potential. You know, even if they allow this tornado warning to expire, we could still see one down the line. Obviously, like I said, I'm going to stay here through the evening because I do feel like that potential is there. What we're seeing within the data is that as we go through the overnight, the back edge of this line catches up, the wind energy decreases off significantly, and what we will see is the severe weather threat going away. So there's still the possibility over the next few hours that we could need to cut back in. The National Weather Service did respond to me. They're saying that there's still shear within the storm, so there, again, rotation within the storm, but no clear signs of low-level rotation, and I'm full in agreement on that. So the National Weather Service, we're going to keep this for about another 20 seconds, and I'll let you guys in the control room know. We're going to go back to programming at around 7:30 here. The National Weather Service will allow this warning to expire at 7:30. Wide perspective here shows southern Indiana, you would have the greatest threat of any strong to severe storms as this continues to move across our area as we go through the next couple of hours. I can't take off the table seeing potentially another tornado warning. I'm going to continue to monitor this closely. Tornado warning has now expired. We'll continue to monitor it. Keep it right here on WDRB for continuing weather updates.